What is up, Whale family? This is Nytmare bringing you Hangtime, where we talk NBA Top Shot, the market, fantasy basketball, and all things hoops and hype. Wow. What a crazy, crazy day it's been for me. So I'm glad I still had an opportunity to sit down with you guys before some even crazier sports action, hopefully to come in the upcoming hour or two in the NFL. But before we get to that, let's talk about basketball over the past week and NBA Top Shot. So really quickly, interesting week in the league. A lot of people going out on COVID protocol, obviously affecting people that are playing fantasy, and likewise, teams trying to vie their way to the top in the rankings. I did find some interesting tidbits, though, with Durant absolutely crushing the all-time scoring list and passing Ray Allen with 400 fewer games. And I think Steph Curry is not far behind. So a testament to the NBA of the modern day, where a premium is really put on scoring efficiently and quickly. We certainly see that in the record books, and hopefully, there's a byproduct of that where it's accounted for in the stats, because people did amazing things historically, but you have to look at the era that they played in. And Feria within our community also mentioned as well, Mr. Top Shot now, obviously, Kevin Durant is participating as an investor and as a platform to help advocate for NBA Top Shot. They did actually find what they thought was like a low-key account that he had set up and just been buying on his own. So not something that was kind of put together for him from Dapper. So if that's the case, that's definitely cool to see NBA players, especially of his caliber, hop in and try to, take part in the ecosystem. We also saw an absolute light show from the Grizzlies this past week with a 73-point win over the Thunder. That's without the most exciting player, in my opinion, in the NBA right now, Ja Morant. So again, a testament to the era that we're watching of basketball. Man, that is insane. And also, relative to the COVID protocols that we had mentioned, LaMelo and LeBron both out. LeBron's also been dealing with some mild drama while he's sitting on the sidelines. So interesting stuff in the NBA and relative to NBA Top Shot. But I do have some NFL news. Obviously, I'm here in Boston. I know we have a lot of people that are Buffalo fans in our community as well. I saw these snowflakes, and I am just beyond hyped for this game tonight. So whether you like these two teams or not, two behemoths right now on, playing well. I think the Bills are a little Jekyll and Hyde, but the Patriots are certainly on a streak. Are they a paper tiger because of the competition they've played, or can they really, be up for the challenge in Buffalo? So that's going to be tough. Buffalo was absolutely insane. Those crowds are nuts. I love the fans in Buffalo. So we will see how many tables get broken ECW style tonight in Buffalo. I have to go get my food for this game shortly after this stream. And Rune, who's actually sick today, wasn't able to pop in, but wanted me to mention some cool stuff he found in the realm of football or soccer, if you're American and call it that way for me. But there is a youth soccer team in Canada that are actually using NFTs to try to fundraise and save some fields that have been devastated by conditions. So pretty cool usage of the technology. You can buy essentially a piece of the field, and I think there's some other perks that may come along with that as well. So they've tokenized the fundraising efforts on Polygon to try to save the soccer fields for the youth. So that was definitely cool. Nice spot by Rune there. And also, he wanted me to make mention, we've been digging a little bit more into the actual soccer NFTs. La Liga was announced not long ago as a partner with Dapper to create moments. And, it's very fractionalized with all the different leagues and whatnot. So for me, someone who doesn't follow it regularly, it's a bit hard to put my head around. I'm glad Rune's here as part of the team to help me understand it. But, La Liga was entered into an agreement with Dapper. And likewise, I was confused because I saw that they had been in an agreement with the Sorare as well. And so with my own research, and anyone that follows soccer probably already knows this, but I did not. Sorare is more of a platform relative to fantasy sports or fantasy football, or they had been up until this point. So though they had players that could be on other platforms like Dapper, it was really for the purpose of playing a fantasy game and that game element. However, they did announced not long ago that they entered in an agreement with a bunch of legends, where literally the purpose of these collectibles would be legendary moments, right? So that actually puts them head to head with what Dapper would be doing. So it'll be very interesting to see how this evolves and which platform really comes to the forefront as far as where the collectible home should be for football or soccer, as we call it here, because obviously that audience is the biggest sporting audience in the world, right? When that really finds its home and footing, it will eclipse likely everything else that we've seen from NBA Top Shot, from what NFL will do with All Day, etc. So excited to see where that goes. Rune's talked me into possibly putting some of my own money where my mouth is and hopping in and buying some of these so we could play the market and understand, hey, what makes sense and what's going on in this world of collectibles, and how does it juxtapose what we're seeing in the Dapper ecosystem and wax and some of the other things that we collect. So on to the market. The market right now is certainly in a decline. Coincides with what we saw with the macro market, right? Bitcoin absolutely fell out. So did ETH. It's bounced a bit since, but with that, we've only gone down about 6.5% versus where we were a week ago. So though it's pretty ugly, it makes sense given what we saw in the macro market and people needed liquidity or whatever their scenario was, right? And so from a metric perspective, you see the declines pretty consistently across the different metrics. I'll put here on 1 month so we can kind of correlate to what we've been talking about. This is a continued slide here on the index that Moment Ranks has. Likewise on the total market cap, only it's not that precipitous of a drop, quite honestly. It's pretty gradual considering the real drop that we had seen with Bitcoin and ETH, but we did see some buoyancy there, right? It did bounce back a bit. Transactions really slowed down after a lot of flurry of activity leading up to the reserve pack drop and some different things like that. So, we'll see where this really shakes out as the market stabilizes. Interestingly here, if you look at the base sets, Series 1 absolutely fell out 25%. So, we're seeing down 6, 8. That's pretty in line with what we saw for the macro market cap. Also, coincides with the ratio that we saw to the macro market, but this Series 1 falling out is really interesting. Probably has a lot to do with people trying to vie for those reserve packs and whatnot. Now, likewise, if we look at total users, another small uptick. We're at 610. What I'd really like us to do is eclipse, ideally, 1 million. I'd love 1 million users by the end of this season. Don't know if it's realistic, but I'm setting my target on 750,000. So if they can crank up the marketing machine and get me somewhere near there, I will be pretty happy. I did want to mention, although we just looked at this, where it shows, Series 1 really falling out here down about 25%. This Jokic that I've been gauging is kind of a macro market gauge for myself anecdotally and just things that I have been tracking is still roughly where it was, right? It's still in that $80 range. I think last week it was $88, the week prior, 88, prior 87. So something that has some inherent value because of the player and the promise of it seemed to be holding up there. And, I don't know if that's the case across all of them, but I would say that that's a relatively good sign that people still see the value in what should be valuable, but maybe not so much in the commons. I think there was a comment today when people were talking about the Kemba Walker reward, right, for the Fresh Threads challenge, and they were saying he's just popping off a pick and doing a jump shot. Like, that really was the moment, right? And so I think a lot of people were holding stuff speculatively or buying stuff speculatively, and now they're not. I know personally, I've been thinking, hey, man, maybe it's time to get out of a lot of these moments that you've just been holding on because you haven't done anything with it or you were lazy. Really consolidate your collection to stuff that you think is going to be valuable or you really like, and just have that money freed up for Dapper, for NFL All Day, or for other stuff in the ecosystem. I think a lot of people are thinking that way. We've even heard people talking about liquidating their whole position except for real keepsakes on January 1st or things of that nature, right? So I think that's kind of a uniform sentiment right now, that some people think it's slowing down, the ecosystem's broadened, and so they're looking to kind of get out of stuff that they were holding on to for a while, and that's going to reflect in the numbers. So we'll see after that happens where things really, steady at. For the whale vault, on moment ranks. We are now at $28 million. We were just under 30. Obviously, we're feeling the pinch a little bit with the macro market drop. If we look at evaluate market, which looks at a different metric, we're at 35 million, only down 1 million versus where we were a week ago. I do notice in the community a bunch of people saying that they actually took that stance last month and went and liquidated some of their positions, tried to get themselves liquid so that they could participate in some of the other ecosystems and whatnot. So we have a new base set Series 3 Release 4 happening tomorrow, about 2 p.m. Eastern. Another almost 250,000 packs of supply going out there. I know a lot of people love that's the cadence and that's the supply. So same thing, you can get 5 packs 2 times if you want to hop back in line, $9 each. I got to be honest with you guys, I don't think I'm going to be participating. I've just gotten junk after junk for the last several packs that I've gotten. So I may be sitting this one out. That being said, I am the guy that always says that and then gets FOMO and hops in. So we will see what happens. Hopefully you guys can get some Jobu Mojo going and you pull something awesome and some of the rooks out of there that are highly sought after. We did allude to this, right? We have a new Fresh Threads challenge where you can get a Kemba Walker moment. My goodness, that was a gross accent there. But you can get this Kemba Walker if you are interested in the Fresh Threads challenge. Again, there's some nuance to it on what exactly you need. I think 5 of them need to be Fresh Threads, and then there's some other moments that you can include there as well. They've also continued with some of the Flash challenges over the past week, so be on the lookout for those as well. And I did want to just talk about this briefly. This newsletter came out over the past few days about the 9 Lives Lounge and some of the features and optimizations that they're going to be making sure that they include. There was a lot of people upset and saying they weren't getting the value for what they had. In fact, we had a proposal that was brought forward, at least for discussion, to go into the DAO. I think it's still waiting for a sponsor, right? So there was some discussion on whether the Whale Vault should acquire all of the moments, all of the cool cats, and get a 9 Lives Lounge position so they can get the airdrops and whatnot that they're talking about. We could debate that a little bit more in those rooms. But the 2 key points that jumped out to me and a lot of other people were the fact that it basically guaranteed that these people would have access to the NFL all-day beta as well as the UFC beta. So there was a lot of different emotions going on about that, right? People fired up on Twitter, people that weren't. I know when I talked to Rude Moose, she was saying that she was quelling those fires for quite a bit. So yes, there will be beta access available for the 9 Lives Lounge members. However, it will not be exclusive to them and they will not have access to all of the supply. So they're really going to try to allocate buckets for fresh people to people that are just in the ecosystem that aren't part of 9 Lives Lounge. Man, my accent's coming out tonight. So just know that they are making efforts to make sure it's partitioned. It won't run as long as the NBA Top Shot beta did because now they kind of know the model works and they know some nuance to the ecosystem. What I do think they're going to have to work out is the gamification, because there's a whole different type of thing that you could play with the cadence and the stats and whatnot in football. So that's what I'm really keen to learn what they do. And so I know a lot of people had gotten emails saying this is about to pop off. They had come out with a lot of promo on Twitter as well. That was pretty cool. So, you had seen the players actually tweeting about it themselves. They all have this NFLPA tag down here on the bottom, but it's coming from the players themselves. So interesting, to see that really crank up. It makes me think personally, and I don't know anything for a fact because I don't get fed this information, but it makes me think personally that this is likely around the corner, right? So I think the beta opening and people being given access is probably relatively imminent, I would think, within the next 2-3 weeks or so. And that's not really going on a limb, considering they did say it would happen this season, right? And I can't remember who, but some people from our community, their prediction was Christmas, and said, of course, that's what they would want us to do, to be on our computers, trying to gamify and get into NFL all day instead of doing our Christmas stuff. But we will see. Hey, maybe that's the gift. gift that keeps on giving, right? Hopefully I don't keep giving it to it and I don't get anything in my packs like I've been lately in what I've been trying to get. But that could just be my luck. Maybe Joe Boo has frowned upon me and I need to get him some fried chicken for the game tonight. They did put some, cool stuff about the different editions and what they're going to have. So an iconic legendary core set with some different nuances here, right? Rookie Revelation, What a Drive, Hoodwinked. They did talk about a rare set as well with Locked In. And then talked about the base and common set, right? So, they had In the Trenches, Ball Hawk, Game Changers, Showtime, lots of cool stuff that they had kind of shared with everyone. So we can kind of discern what their focus will be. We'll look at that a little bit more once we have more of the nuance, but the fact that they're starting to put out this detail and have this kind of ramped up promotion gets me pretty excited that maybe this will be around the corner. And like I had said, guys, personally, I don't know if it's because of what's been happening relative to the types of pack drops and activities in Top Shot, but I'm more hyped about All Day launching at this moment than I am about Top Shot. Now, that being said, they may flip the script on me and do something that makes me go bonkers, right? They drop a legendary or, a Bird or an MJ. I mean, the roof would blow off. So it's not saying that it's lights out for Top Shot. Just at this moment, I am pretty hyped about NFL. I did find a couple other things interesting in conversations over the past week. They did say that now they have better control of the supply, and so they'll likely be managing it a little bit differently than they have NBA Top Shot. And they understand the economy better now that they've gone through the Top Shot launch. So there'll be some nuance to how they go about releasing the legendaries and the rares and the cores here. And they believe that the total ecosystem, the total liquidity in the Dapper ecosystem will benefit everyone, right? So whether you're on Top Shot, whether you're Genies, whether you're on All Day, they think by bringing in new users, there'll be transference. There'll be transference between the different things. And so what we're seeing right now is probably people transferring or anticipating transferring some of that liquidity from NBA Top Shot over to NFL All Day. Hopefully something opens up soon, right? And we can spend it, or else it'll just burn a hole in my digital pocket. And until then, we have to find some other things to try to scoop, right? So if you haven't, make sure you sign up for the waiting list, nfl.dapperlabs.com. I highly doubt that any of you guys that are listening right now have not, but if you have not, there's still an opportunity. And like I said, they did say that it will not be only 9 Lives members. It will not only be people that are already in the ecosystem. They're going to have an allocation spread. So everybody really has a chance to get in there. Be sure to sign up. And then I did want to highlight the weekly Pick'em League. Interestingly, this week, it's a fight for second place because Likes to Bluff came through and is 2 wins above everyone else. So they could lose tonight. They're still taking down first place, but we have a scrum going on right here with a bunch of our regulars, as well as some names that we haven't seen in a little bit. So very cool to see. I didn't get my stuff in on time as usual. And I don't see Rads up here either. I think he took a little break after winning a pick'em, right? He said he was just going to chill and let everyone else have a chance. So thanks for that, Rads. Appreciate it. If you guys did not get in your bets for the Pick'em League, or rather for the props tonight, we have a props contest. Be sure to stop into the sports NFT room on the Whale Discord. You can get in for every night game. So we do it Monday, Thursday, and Sunday. Tonight, some people have said it's going to be defensive battle. I think it's going to be a gun show. We will see. Either way, it's going to be excellent watching. So I'm going to let you guys go. Enjoy the game. I'm going to go get some, what is on the menu? Nashville hot chicken mac and cheese, because although I'm trying to eat healthy, I can't help myself. I'm going to be anxiously and compulsively eating this evening, so it might as well be something delicious. You guys have a great week, and oh, you know what? I forgot something, and I'm just going to bring this up really briefly before we go, but there was the reserve backdrop over the past week, of which I barely heard a thing about it afterwards. There were a couple of people talking about what they had scored, but even within our community and even a lot of the noise on Twitter, personally, it wasn't to the hype level that I had expected. So that was pretty interesting to me, that even in this update that I'm doing right now, it was a relative afterthought. But that being said, I didn't participate, so maybe I'm just salty, and maybe half our community is as well because they got junk. I don't know, but either way, I am going to go get that food. I'm going to get ready for the game. You guys have a great one. I will catch you next week.